It really goes back to that point they started with, that it's easy to celebrate the people who were pioneers in their day. We salute their success often without appreciating the struggles they faced and the faith which propelled them. I think that's a really good reminder for us as we are propelled by our faith while we're in the struggle.
The title is Faith in the Power of God. Key verse is from Isaiah 40:29. God gives power to the faint and strengthens the powerless. That the righteous shall live by faith, a popular slogan we hear, use, and abuse often. The final group of lessons open studies of people who live this principle.
Our case study tells us that we look to the Bible text to see what they tell us about God, the Lord's position on issues, and how the Bible characters dealt with life issues. But at times, a text does a U-turn and forces us to check our views on issues. In other words, the text can hold up mirrors to our faces. The images we see in the mirrors can be inspiring or disconcerting. Isaiah 40 is one such text. Israel complained against God. God seemed not to notice what was happening to them. The NLT version renders Isaiah 40:27 this way, O Jacob, how can you say the Lord does not see your troubles, O Israel? How can you say God ignores your rights? At the heart of the matter was Israel's concept of God, God's ability to be just and God's readiness to protect and provide for them. Let us add, this issue strikes the cornerstone of faith. To have an active faith in God, we must first believe that God exists, cares about us, and can look after us.
Such thinking prompted research on what Americans think about God. If we can answer that question, we can get a true perspective on acts of faith today. On April 25th of 2018, Pew Research published the results of a survey, key findings about America's faith in God. We give the key summary findings for the sake of completeness, and to step past issues of bias. Under the subheading, post infograph we found, let me repeat that. Under the subheading, post Instagram we found, when Americans say they believe in God, what do they mean?
Okay.
1/3 of the U.S. adults believe in a higher power of some kind, but not in God, as described in the Bible. In the U.S., half of adults believe God determines what happens to them, most or all the time. A slim majority of Americans believe that God, as described in the Bible, while 1/3 believe in some other higher power. Those who believe in God of the Bible see the deity as more powerful, active in those who believe in another higher power or spiritual force. 3/4 of U.S. Christians believe God is loving, omniscient, and omnipotent. Most agnostic, those whose religion is nothing in particular, believe in a higher power or spiritual force. Compared with older Americans, fewer young adults believe in an active, engaged God.
I guess that folds well into our life application component. In the text, Isaiah gave vivid insights into the character and power of God. As discussed before, this is the platform of all faith in God, his ability to care for us. In theory, we shout there is nothing God cannot do, yet in practice, we may put roadblocks on God. For example, it is common to hear Christians lament certain diseases are incurable while calling on God Almighty. That brings us into our questions. Can believers question what God is doing on an issue and still maintain faith in God?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We can ask God. I mean, who else would we ask than to ask God? Lord, what's going on? Do you hear us? Do you see us?
Right. Right. Absolutely. That's our human nature. And, it's disheartening when people say, don't you have faith? Why are you worried? Why are you thinking that way? Don't you have faith? Well, one doesn't necessarily cancel out the other because we do have human emotions and,
It's
so.
kind of shaming. We know how to deal with our worries, and we understand that is something that we seek to grow in our faith so that we worry less and are more at peace. And it's a process. For David and Isaiah, the intricacies of the universe spoke to God's existence and power. For you, what is it that shouts to the world, hi, people, there is a God? The third question encourages us to consider, how would you share your faith in the God of the Bible with a young college student who has no faith in the God of the Bible?
Yeah, I go back to the God Space book that I don't think that it's appropriate to bombard them with your beliefs. You find opportunities to share your belief with them without beating them over the head with it. I think that's the reason why, when it talks about young people, I don't remember what exactly how the Pew Research worded it. It's because too many people are beating people over the head with their faith. You got to believe this. I believe.
Yes. And the current research is showing us that this generation of college age students are actually more likely to have a general spirituality and a desire for a life of the spirit, but not having an interest in an organized religion that is guided by an external authority. That's where their generation is. I'm probably not expressing that exactly right, but I think I agree with you as far as what we learned through that study, the God space study. Some of them are at a place in their spiritual development where they are very anti-religious and very much in their agnostic or questioning or searching stage, which we actually accept that fully because I believe what one of my professors at Payne Seminary said, that a faith unquestioned is not faith at all. They can't lean on their grandparents or their parents' faith. They have to go through their own discovery. And my faith in God is strong enough that I understand that the same God who continued to engage me and reach out to me and draw me is also able to draw them. It's still bearing witness of my faith while not coercing them to engage in my faith.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I found it interesting in this lesson how sometimes they said God and sometimes they said deity, acknowledging that some believe in a higher power, some believe that that sense of a higher power, but they're not quite to the God of the Bible.
Well, the God of the Bible was understood differently at different points in time throughout the biblical text. So when we say the God of the Bible, we each have our own understanding of what we mean when we say the God of the Bible.
Absolutely. that community class that I do on Wednesday nights, we got into that discussion last night. That translations of Bible, you know, sometimes say different things. If you study it in Hebrew, you might come up with one understanding, and you might understand that, oh, that word was not really accurately translated.
Well, when you start to get into the nuances of meaning that are different in words across different languages, and think about the Galilean Aramaic language that Jesus and his disciples most likely spoke as a first language, the Greek, that was their common commercial language, the Hebrew of their ancient Jewish text, and then all of the centuries of different translations that would reflect the reading into those texts, the culture of their time. It's complex to glean levels of meaning from it. And I'm grateful because I love to study the Bible, and it's been transformational in my life.